All right. Welcome back to Eyes Open Media. All right, so we're gonna discuss the Mosul map here. This is how Mosul looks. Okay, I guess these are the territories of Mosul City. Now, Mosul is the second largest city in Iraq. Of course, Baghdad is number one, and Mosul is number two. Okay. And this is why Mosul is very important, is because it was so big. They wanted to keep it. They wanted to keep it last because they could use it, as propaganda, to keep things delaying and stuff like that by using the biggest city. Because they could have done it to any other city, but they chose the biggest city, and Maliki chose this city to allow his troops at that time to drop their weapons for ISIS and Daesh to take over the Mosul, and because Maliki knew that if he did it anywhere else, the coalition forces and the Iraqi forces and the Peshmerga forces would be able to get the land back very quickly. But if he did it and why didn't he do it in Baghdad? Because they have the green zone in Baghdad. He lives in Baghdad. The politicians live in Baghdad. So they're not going to do it in their home, but so they chose to do it in Mosul, because Mosul would take years, at least a year to get back. Okay. And then not just that, when they take Mosul, we'll have them take almost all of Iraq except for where we live. So you can see the propaganda that goes on, because if ISIS and Daesh were so corrupt and terrible people, then they would have took Baghdad as well. But they didn't take Baghdad because they listened to somebody's controlling them. So they didn't take Baghdad. They came close to Baghdad, and then they just left, right? Because they weren't supposed to come that way. And so the politicians told them, turn around, go the other way, go harass the other people. We live over here. So they didn't. That should tell you right there who they are. Okay, so they're being funded and they're being controlled. They're not bad. They're not these people that we are thinking they are. They're controlled. Okay, ISIS and Daesh are controlled people. Okay, and they receive their funds and their weapons through governments. Okay, we all know that because these people are in the dirt. So how they're getting all these weapons, and how they're able to eat and manage themselves? Somebody's paying them, and we found out last year that that a lot of these troops, a lot of these not troops, but a lot of these ISIS and Daesh members are Syrian rebels and people that we trained in Jordan, and also people that were trained by British forces, American forces, Turkish forces, you name it, Russian forces. Like, a lot of these people have been trained by the best. Okay, but that doesn't mean they are the best. They just been trained by the best. Just because you've been trained by the best don't mean you're the best. As you see, ISIS and Daesh are very sloppy. Okay, so even though they were trained, they were probably quickly trained, like a lot of these people are. A lot of these countries, when we come in there, we quickly train them, and we're not going to give them the training we get, but we quickly train them to be able to at least put something together and be able to be reliable, I guess is the word you want to call it. But anyways, it's just, I want to make that point clear that if ISIS and Daesh were really, really, I'm not gonna say the word because it's a cuss word, but if they were really that, if they were really that lit, or whatever you want to you guys use these days, they would have went into Baghdad and destroyed it. But they didn't. They kept out of Baghdad. Okay, there's bombs that go off in here, car bombs, and that doesn't mean nothing. If they were lit, they would have went into the green zone and they would have destroyed those mansions and stuff like that. But they didn't. That tells you that they're being controlled. So they went into Mosul, and Maliki told his Iraqi armies to drop their weapons and run. And that's exactly what they did. So they picked up all of those weapons, and most of those weapons are from the West, the Western weapons. Even the West drops weapons off of them as well, funds them, and things of that nature, which is despicable, but it is what it is. We just heard a leak audio from Kerry last week saying that they watch ISIS and Daesh grow in Syria. to see if they could take over Assad. I mean that's the type of leadership that we have in in our government, and yet people continue to praise them. It's unbelievable. Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how many things leak audios come out, doesn't matter if they tell you right in front of your face, people will still praise these people in this government and around the world, and world leaders that are doing harm to innocent civilians around the world. But so that's the history of Mosul. It's the size of about Dallas, Texas. I keep telling you guys, so not very big at all. Iraq's not a big country, so for us to drop 1,000+ bombs, I mean, the whole place would be wiped out. The whole place should be wiped out, because if you drop 1,000 bombs, just think about it, 1,000 bombs. We dropped one bomb in Japan and the whole place blew up. Like, the whole place was destroyed, right? Fukushima was gone by the atomic bomb. We've dropped 1,000 bombs. Now, of course, we haven't dropped the atomic bomb or any type of nuclear bomb, but we've dropped bombs, 1,000 of them. And you see pictures of Mosul, it's like, where's the bombs at? You know what I mean? Like it's not that, doesn't look that bad, okay? But anyways, if you look in, let's look in the map now with the cursor here. Okay, so the green parts here are the liberated areas that basically Iraq controls 100%. Now the orange parts, which here is the lines right here, are the frontline clashes and battles that are going on. Okay. And then you see them down here, Southeast Mosul. I told you guys by Sunday, Southeast Mosul will be completely liberated. Okay, so look out for that. Today is Friday as I'm speaking, January 13th. So, and then this is the left coast right here, which is the western part of Eastern Mosul. And then you got the bridges here. And then the white part is ISIS control. So northern Mosul up here. And, Turkish forces, Peshmerga forces are up here as well. American forces are up here as well, and today we learned, and I'm not surprised, that American forces are dressed as Iraqi forces. That's how they're moving through Eastern Mosul so fast. So what happened is, and we dressed up as the Iraqi forces to pretend we're Iraqi forces. And so they're going to get the credit. Like I said, the Iraqi forces are going to get the credit for Mosul liberation. You got Turkish troops here that won't leave until liberation, so they can get credit as well. But the thing is Abadi said that there's no foreign troops in Mosul. The reason why is because they're dressed up as Iraqi troops. We are dressed up as the Peshmerga and the Iraqi troops, and we're pretending to be Iraqi troops. But that's the reason why you've seen the speed in Eastern Mosul speed up, is because we have our military people, our special forces, our Marines, our army men dressed up as the Iraqi forces, okay? Because Iraqi forces wouldn't be able to do this, what's going on right now, okay? So we dressed up as them. Of course, they're doing battle with us. We have met up in northeast Mosul, around this area. We've met up with the coalition forces and the Iraqi army, and you see the clashes right here. They're gonna go this way, and they're going to take down everything here in northern Mosul, probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then also here in this area will be taken down. And we've already pushed our way through here through the center of Mosul. Here's the center of Mosul right here, where the bridges are, the 5 bridges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, we have already taken this area right here. We're about to take the University of Mosul here soon. We're 50% completed. We're in battle tonight, going into tonight. We should have it tomorrow morning. And then the left coast is here. We're doing battles right here on the outside. And then you have Western Mosul, which their battles are going on in Western Mosul, but it's all still controlled by ISIS and Daesh. Okay. And so we're going to, now what happened today is ISIS and Daesh collapsed these 5 bridges. Now, 2 of them were already gone. I think they collapsed 3 more. And I did show you guys a picture of the 4th bridge. I'm not sure if this is the 4th bridge or this is the 4th bridge, because there's 5. You could be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be this one or this one, depending on which way the bridges start. Okay, or it could be one in the middle here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be that way too. All depends on what was built first, right? We don't know that. I don't know that information. You got some stuff here. Looks like some refineries or some pipelines and things of that nature. Some grassy spots over here. So yeah, and this is going to, as you see here, this is bigger. Eastern Mosul is bigger than Western Mosul. Okay, but Western Mosul has a lot of things in it, like a whole bunch of stuff. This has this mainly. It's clear, right? This has a lot of stuff in there, like oil and all types of stuff. So this is what ISIS was using to fund a lot of their stuff, oil and things of that nature. So that's what we're coming into. Now we have this place 50% liberated. So it's already 50% liberated. We're liberating villages, more villages today, and more areas in Western Mosul. And so yeah, heavy clashes are going to come in here. Baghdadi has to be probably somewhere in between the left coast here and somewhere in between here, but he is in center Mosul as we are getting the leaders and taking down the leaders of his team in this area right here. So he has to be somewhere around the river, because the river gives you life, right? This river is where you get the water, the fish, the food. So if he's living in the caves, if they're living in the caves, they want to be near the river, right? You want to be near the river because you can fish, you can, whatever food you can get, and you can get life through the water. Okay, you don't want to be back here if you're, if you're in the caves and stuff like that. Okay, so let me see, and this is updated from 113, which is today, 7:47 p.m. Baghdad time. Okay, so I think that is it. So Northern Mosul, people are asking about Northern Mosul. Yeah, it's small. Look how small Northern Mosul is. So we should have that. I don't know. I'm not gonna say, like I said 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, I'm not gonna, because we're only really right here, and we're up here as well. You see, we're battling up in this area. I don't know what this area is called, but we're battling right up in here as well in Mosul, and I'm not sure how we're gonna get over. Maybe there's no bridge here, so we'll probably swim over, or we'll probably fly over, or whatever the case may be, and start to attack this whole thing. This whole thing should be in orange here very soon, and also should be turning to green very soon as well. And by the in the next 2 to 3 weeks, 90% of this chart should be green. Okay, we should have all this. All this should be green. Up here should be starting to be orange, 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 and down here orange start to be orange, and then this turns into green, and this turns into green. Our body plants to flag somewhere right here in the middle. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Expect another 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of heavy combat up here and up here, and then coming in here. This is, like I said before, this has a lot more industrial stuff to it than this was, so it's gonna be more tricky over here. But if a body's looking for the center's right here, and he's gonna plant the flag somewhere around here. So maybe the left coast, or maybe up around here, okay, or maybe right at the bridges, okay, right here looking, maybe right here looking over the bridges. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. Hopefully you guys like that information and that study, because some of you guys I know don't understand what Mosul is, and what's going on, and how we're fighting it publicly. Okay. And so so there it is. We're moving right along, and this thing is moving faster because the Americans are pretending to be the Iraqis, okay, which helps. And also the CBI is just waiting. The CBI is watching and waiting, and also the IMF is watching and waiting. The United Nations are watching, waiting. I hope to hear something from United Nations this weekend, and about Article 7, if Chapter 7, excuse me, and yeah, we'll see if we get that or not. And Davos is coming up for a body. If he goes or not, we don't know. And then of course the inauguration for Donald Trump on the 20th. Continue to pray for him. and continue to pray for the reset of America. And of course, we know that the Dow 20,000, all this stuff is going to happen in the Trump presidency. And we're gonna get Musso back in the Trump presidency as well. Okay, so take care, everybody. Eyes open, and keep an eye out for breaking news. I'm gonna be watching the United Nations, and let's see if we can get some breaking news this weekend. Okay, peace out. Bye. Eyes open.